Really appreciate everyone that's on the call. The Sun Belt's off to a good year. The Sun Belt women, we've got 3 teams that are kind of hovering around that kind of top 100 in the net, and UT Arlington, UTA, Little Rock, and also Troy. Our women's have had some really good quality wins. If you think about Georgia Southern's win over Auburn, that win was on the road. Little Rock defeating Vanderbilt on the road as well. Louisiana defeats Rice, and then UTA defeated Houston. So some great wins. Our women are off to a good start. Our men are as well. So we've got 2 men's teams that are in the top 100 of the net. South Alabama with an 8-2 record, and they've got a net of 66. 2 tough really close road losses at Wichita State and Alabama. Otherwise, they would be undefeated. So really solid start for them. And then Texas State at 6-2, 78 in the net. And they're off to a great start. We've got multiple quality wins, highlighted by South Carolina's big win over Coastal Carolina's big win over South Carolina, and also Winthrop. And then we've got quality wins in the conference over Santa Barbara and also Northeastern. So great start to the season for both our men's and women's basketball teams. Really excited about our conference championship. We'll be in Pensacola again this year, so second year. All the games will be at the Bay Center, and so we're just really excited. That is a great community for Sun Belt basketball. They did a great job of hosting last year, and really can't wait to see what year 2 is going to be like. So it's going to be really exciting to have our conference championship in Pensacola again. This is a week where we end our football season. Our football season concludes with our bowl games. Those start on Friday. So we've got the Cure Bowl on Friday. And so that is going to be Coastal Carolina against Northern Illinois. So really excited about that. Boca Raton is Saturday morning, 10 o'clock Central, where App State is going to play Western Kentucky. And then New Orleans Bowl is Saturday evening, where Louisiana plays Marshall. And if you think about Coastal, App, and Louisiana, all 3 of those teams had 10+ wins. So first time in our history in the Sun Belt Conference, we've had 3 teams with 10 or more wins to finish the regular season. And then the last game in our bowl kind of matrix is Georgia State taking on Ball State in the Camellia Bowl, and that game is on Christmas Day. And then also just to talk a little conference realignment, Sun Belt added 4 schools this year. So we are going to welcome in the future by July of 2023, Marshall, Old Dominion, James Madison, and Southern Miss. And so we're really excited about those additions that will go along with our, kind of 10 core kind of football playing schools to give us kind of 14 football playing schools for the fall of 23. So with that, I will stop, and I will open it up to questions.
As a reminder, if you have questions for Commissioner Gill, please put those in the chat. He'll be here for the next 10 minutes or so for any questions that you have. First question, Commissioner, comes from Ted Lewis, and Ted says the Sun Belt began as a basketball conference, but has been a one-bid league for the men and women in recent years. What can you do to change that, and does the expansion of the 4 new teams help you get there?
I certainly think, and one, Ted, thanks for being on, and thanks for the question. I certainly think the addition of the new schools will help us in that regard. We've added some really, kind of strong, traditionally strong basketball schools in terms of Old Dominion and JMU and Marshall. And so to go along with schools in the Sun Belt that are continuing to get better, and some traditionally strong schools when you look at Georgia State and South Alabama. So we've got to continue our march to get better in the net. It's kind of interesting. The net is a little different than the RPI, so it's going to take some adjustment to our scheduling as we figure out how to make that in the best kind of the best case scenario for us. And we've got to keep improving that over time. And then as we do that, then obviously the conference wins and losses will reflect differently as our nets improve. So we've got a little work to do to get where we want to be. but I certainly think that we're on the right track and our schools are really committed to basketball. It's a really tough league, a lot of good coaches, a lot of good players, a lot of strong competition. And so as we continue to tweak our scheduling a little bit, hopefully win a few more non-conference games, get our net scores up, we'll be much better. And I think our new additions will help us do that.
The next question comes from Andrew Teneo. He asks, what have your impressions been regarding realignment, and also your thoughts on UT Arlington within the conference?
Yeah, so that's a great question. So, realignment is, it's an interesting world. So I do feel like it's, kind of worked in our favor this time. I really like the direction and the future of the Sun Belt. And with our 4 new additions, I certainly think realignment was really good for our league and has put us into a position to have a lot of success in the future. So I think with UTA, obviously a great Sun Belt member, really good basketball program, great facilities. So we're certainly really excited about them as one of our members who've been around a long time, and certainly looking forward to them doing a good job. I mean, their women's basketball program is really in a good spot with great leadership, and certainly the men are continuing to improve as well.
Reminder, if you have a question for Commissioner Gill, to please place that in the chat. And Commissioner, offer your thoughts on why Pensacola is such a great location for the Sun Belt men's and women's basketball tournaments, and the environment it creates for everyone involved, from student athletes to coaches to fans.
Yeah, that's such a great question. When we were looking for a place for our tournament, we thought Pensacola was perfect for a whole host of reasons. So one is its location, right there on the Gulf Coast. For our schools and our communities, everyone knows kind of Pensacola, the Gulf Coast. It's where they already vacation. It's spring break. And so it's kind of that perfect timing to take a trip to Pensacola. Then the community was so supportive. The way they rolled out the welcome mat for us last year. But even before that, working with the community on the championship, and the integration has been so seamless and so easy. Being in a community that really wants to be a part of the Sun Belt and its growth has really been helpful in that regard. And then they've got a top-notch facility. If you've been to the Bay Center, it looked spectacular. It was a great environment. A lot of the community came out and supported. And so it's just a wonderful venue for our teams to compete for championships. So it's great for the student athlete experience, great for our fans to come down there. And then the surrounding community, great downtown, great restaurants. It really is a wonderful place for our fans to visit, and a good venue for them to visit as well, and watch basketball. So I'm really excited about Pensacola. It's going to be terrific. And we really can't wait to get back and see the improvements over last year.
With realignment, a lot of the focus has been on football, rightfully so. But talk about what benefits and strengths the 4 new institutions bring across the board in all sports to the conference.
Yeah, that's a great question. We were talking a little bit about basketball, and so I'll start there with great basketball schools, and that's men and women. You can't really talk about women's basketball and not think about ODU and kind of the success that they've had and the tradition that they've had. And then those schools are good in men's basketball as well. But if you think about baseball, ODU was a national seed last year. Southern Miss is traditionally an NCAA team to go along with our kind of multi-bid league that we already have. So it's pretty tremendous in that regard. Look at softball. I'm already excited about the JMU Louisiana rivalry. Last year, obviously the Sun Belt, we had 4 teams in the NCAA tournament. JMU went to the Women's College World Series in softball. So that's going to be exciting as well. If you look at men's soccer, there's a lot of quality men's soccer up and down the league. Marshall, defending national champion. And so it's a great question. We're going to get better across all our sports. And so certainly, football influences and kind of drives a lot of these decisions. But when you think about improvement across the board, these 4 new additions, combined with the quality that we already have in our current members, will make for some really strong sports across the board.
The Sun Belt has really added a lot of really great neutral site locations for its championships across the board in recent years. How do you feel these sites, whether it's Pensacola or Foley, really help enhance the student athlete experience while at championship events?
Yeah, what a great question. You know, the one thing it really allows us to do is being in one location allows us to add enhancements that really make it feel like a championship. Now, one of the great things about a neutral site is, you know, when you play it on campus, a lot of times those student athletes have already played at those venues, and it just seems like another kind of regular season experience. But when you go to a neutral site, it allows us to dress it up in ways that we can't do it on campus, and allows us to give that kind of championship feel. I also think the consistency creates opportunities for fans to travel. You know, every year, you know, hey, we're going to be in Foley, Alabama, if you're thinking about it in terms of women's soccer, on these dates. So book your trip, come down there. Obviously, that's near the beach as well. So you can see a theme here of trying to be close to the beach. And that's great. Or go to Montgomery for baseball. You know, you've got those 2 hotels downtown, beautiful city, great place to be. And so there's a consistency there. And then it also helps us in terms of engagement with our partners. You know, it allows us to engage partners from around the region. It allows us to create, you know, assets that they're interested in. And so, which at the end of the day allows us to grow to championship. So it allows us for growth. It better allows for growth. It better allows for game presentation. These are great communities that support our students. And so at the end of the day, I think it creates a better experience and a more championship experience for our student athletes.
You've recently begun a term on the NCAA Men's Basketball Committee. Talk about what that experience has been like for you so far.
You know, it's actually been wonderful. You know, it's kind of great, and it'll pick up a lot now that football's ended, and we're really diving into you know, men's basketball. So it's a lot of work, but it's great. You know, kind of diving into basketball, really getting to understand kind of what it looks like across the country. And I think the best part of it is it's going to give me some information that I can bring back to the Sun Belt to help us as we improve. And I feel like the information will help us in men's and women's basketball. I know I'm on the men's basketball committee, but some of those tips we'll be able to use across the board to get better in basketball. So I think it's going to be helpful for the conference and help us grow. But personally, you know, it's going to be fun being around basketball and being kind of embedded in it over the course of the next 3 months.
Commissioner Gill, thank you for your time, and thanks for joining everyone this morning.
Yeah, thanks so much, Sean. Really appreciate it.